guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys.
Get ready for episode 10 of Two Guys Talking Rush Podcast, Part 2, Fullness of Time, Remembering the Professor. All right, folks, well, that winds down this segment of the show, our dedication to Neil Peart, and we want to welcome Vice President and President of Overtime Angels, overtimeangels.org. You can find out more about that organization. Lance, the Shred, Kasten, and Mike Rosenthal. Welcome to Two Guys Talking Rush. Well, listen, I want to thank you both for coming on the show. Lance, the Shred, Kasten, and Mike the Chicken Rosen. Where's your chicken head, Mike? Mike Rosenthal.
Oh, the Rush Cam Chicken.
Well, Lance is vice president, and Mike, you are president of a wonderful organization named Overtime Angels. Do you guys want to talk about how Overtime Angels came about, maybe how you guys met, and take it from there?
I'll tell you how we met, and then I'll let Mike tell you how Overtime Angels started and how we've evolved. I think that, pretty much, John, you were responsible for the first meeting of anybody that I had ever met outside the Rush world that was, a fanatic. And when we came to your showing up there at that coffee shop, I went up there with Kelly and Petey and met Keith Seidel, the young Tehila, when we were all blogging. This was before Facebook, right? I mean, Facebook was rocking, but, I don't think anybody was on there. So it was just, we were all blogging. And so we all became very close. And, that was the first time we ever met Donna. She happened to be there. And then there were some people that were blogging on Rush as a band that kind of hit it off. There was, they dwelled towards each other, and, we started communicating through the back door. And then once, it was RushCon was happening. They didn't have a domestic gathering here in the United States, so we were already calling ourselves Rats. So I said, you know what, I'm going to have RatCon at my house. And Mike was one of them, of 27 people that showed up the first year in my backyard. And Mike was going through some hard times at that point, and I built a rat trap in the back, so if somebody missed an air drum lick or, missed a cymbal grab when Rush was on, you had to go to the rat trap. Well, Mike, is he actually slept in the damn rat trap, and he's a big yoga fanatic, and my God, the man's got multiple talents. But when he left, it was one of those things where it was the first time, and, people drank, and it's not like people got drunk or anything like that, but it was the first time when people left that you had an emotional hangover because we all shared a common interest, and that was, our musical taste, and it was Rush. So when everybody left, everybody had, all those people had a huge hangover. And then Mike and I started talking back and forth, and we had another RatCon, and then we were at Club Xanadu, which is my backyard. We dressed the joint up, rushed it out, and then we had, I dubbed Mike's, he very a similar backyard with a pool and, backyard deck and all that other good stuff, and we named his Club Carney. And then when we had the gathering there, this is where he pretty much introduced what he wanted to do as a result of Rush's philanthropy and the people that he had met. And that's where I'm going to let Mike chime in. It was a very emotional moment. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, so I met Lance, I guess, on the Rush as a Band. Thank you, Ed Stenger, for bringing us all together, again, before there was Facebook. And I saw that he was having this funny little gathering in his backyard. And I was in the middle of my divorce. My money was locked up. I had no idea what my life was going to look like. So I went down to Maryland for the weekend thinking, all right, I'm going to a Rush party. And I basically met friends for life. We rented a van and saw Signals, a tribute band, a half hour away. Lance says, F this, next year I'm building a stage in my backyard. So the next few years he did, and the band came to his backyard. And then, we shifted it here in 2014 when we wanted to grow the event.
I have to interrupt you for 1 second. I almost had an air wife after that, by the way.
Yep. So another reason why we moved the party to my house, to preserve Lance's relationship. Whenever we went on tour with the band, we would gather in cities before the show, and there'd usually be an effort to raise some money for a local food bank. When Calgary had the massive floods, Rush got behind that. So I came up with the thinking of, what if we centralized an idea for giving, because the Rush community is very generous. And this way, if people want to make a true donation, tax deduction, know where it's going, besides just throwing money in a jar at a bar, why not do that? So I spoke to Lance, I spoke to Jim Brunke, who I had also met, I think, on the Clockwork Angels tour in Bridgeport. And we just talked about a need for a lot of people that are hurting, that if you have cancer, you can't go to the American Cancer Society and say, hey, I'm hurting. If your house burns down, where do you go? So we thought that there was a void that we could fill, and we basically put a 501c3 organization together and started gathering money and paying it out to causes and individuals in need. Our first donation went to a local guy who came down with third stage cancer, no insurance, wife and a young child. To this day, he's in remission. He's making memories with his family. He's working. So we've tried to give people, as Neil said when he learned about the charity, we're giving people a leg up. It's not permanent help. It's temporary help so they can get back on their feet and get back to fighting the good fight.
That's awesome. It's pretty amazing that your love of a band could evolve into this.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, are people doing this for like Foghat?
Right. I haven't seen the advertisements for Super.
No, they're not doing this for Foghat. No. No disrespect meant to Foghat, but no, it's not happening.
Lance is going to go get his Foghat t-shirt right now.
It's like, I'm out of here.
I'm going to show you a picture of me and Roger Earl and Brian Bassett.
Is that Foghat?
It sure is.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Wow.
Yep, and they're good guys.
Yeah, they rocked. I saw they came back. They didn't. Well, here we go talking about Foghat. It's a Rush show. Maybe you should start an organization. Spawned from Foghat. But no, I think that's pretty incredible. And when Dan and I thought to come up with the show and put our heads together, what other band could really encapsulate this much content, this much meaningful content, not just song by song stuff, just their impact on the person, the individual. And Rush really have touched so many people in so many different ways and have inspired people to do amazing things. And this show, that's why we were a little late. This show is about the impact that Neil Peart has left on people. And it was a dedication to Neil, because we hadn't really properly done that yet since the beginning of the show, and talking about Neil's top 10 rules of success. And I'll share that with you later, but it's everything you already know with regard to his writing and his writing inspiration for writing, his travels, his prolificity of influences of music that have come out in his playing, and so many other things. So it's just amazing to me that two guys who love a band, who didn't know each other before the band, get together while seeing the band or an event, and boom, there they go. And Lance, I forgot about that on the Snakes and Arrows tour. This was 2007. So I think the first.
That was the first leg.
Yeah, the first leg, but it was the first time. Well, it was before people went to shows and brought an iPhone. Like, I think the iPhone whatever was out, and nobody was really bringing iPhones to shows yet. But I snuck in a digital camera, which was like, I don't know, a 12 megapixel. I paid like $400 for it at the time. And I snuck it in. And if you put a camera up at a show, your ass would get hauled out of a show. Back then, everybody's got this up now. And I snuck it in. I snuck all the way down front. And I remember I snuck down front, and all the Rush elites were down front. Like, what I always forget her name from. Jillian from RushCon was there.
And Beverly and yeah.
They're all there. I got my camera up. I'm banging out photo like boom, boom, boom. Some guy behind me goes, "You're gonna have a lot of awesome photos." So I go back. And I'm like, wow, I got some good photos. Let me put a show on. I'm not like known as a photographer, but I did this. And then that really caught fire. It was on Rush as a band, and then it was on Brave Words. And then I remember you were there, and I was sweating bullets because I was drinking too much wine. And then Donna was there, and it was this little coffee shop in Salem where I lived, and you could barely get into the place. There was that many Rush fans at this little random coffee shop. And then Rush Rats were formed there with Donna. And thank you so much for coming to that, man. I wish I made it down to your events at your home, your Rat Cons, man. But wow, just because I took some photos, people get together. And it's like this incestuous kind of thing, this Rush family, it's incredible. But go ahead.
No, it was crazy. I mean, and that was, part of the birth of, folks getting, people, the Rats. I mean,
exactly.
They'd gotten together and then, formed a little family. And, as we've evolved, I mean, we've got a huge family of people now.
Yes.
Crazy, what these people, just how close we are, and how, how people will come from, from different states just to go to an elite Rush tribute band. And there's, there's a few elite ones out there.
Right.
And there are some bums.
Right.
And I won't even name the bums, but you give them the 3-song rule, right? So you see a Rush tribute band, you give them the 3-song rule. If they make an air drummer look bad within the first 3 songs, then you get the hell out of there. You wrap, you dial 911, you wrap, the crime lab tape around the joint, and get the hell out. And I think, matter of fact, Mike and I saw another band in Brooklyn one time, and we stayed the whole time, and I was like, oh my God, I can't even handle this. I walked out of there with a big pain in the back of my neck. I'm like, dude, these people are awful, man.
Yep.
Because they just murdered. It was a homicide. They murdered the Rush songs.
Takes a lot of guts.
Exactly. Yeah, they should have gone to jail. So, and then we have a lot of great friends and a lot of great Rush tribute bands that we go and see, and they have great interpretations. They're all different, but their interpretation is something to behold. They're very, very good at what they do. Whether you have a guy singer, a girl singer, a guitar player singing, Getty, as long as they don't murder the song and they're treating the band in a very respectful way, then respect them.
I've seen that music not just murdered, but gruesomely murdered by some of those cover bands where it's I don't want children seeing this or anything like that. But what you said about the air drumming, that's exactly correct.
Right,
because the people who are there air drumming have been listening to that music closely for years. They know exactly how it has to go and at what fraction of a second they hit the cymbal and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I trust the air drummers more than I trust the actual drummer in the cover band. Because the guy doing the air drumming is right 100% of the time. I promise you.
That's right.
Wait, Lance, you're an air guitar champion, not an air drum, but you've done air drumming, right? So what?
We have an air band. I mean, I do competitive air guitar. I won a lot of money in guitars. I got guitars hung up inside my dude room in here that I can't play. I couldn't play My Dog Has Fleas on a ukulele. But we have an air band called Category 6, and we've done Rush songs. And we do New York gigs with Freddie Mercury and William Ocean and, all these, these guys, air horns, air keys. That's a piano stand. So we don't have any inventory and go make money playing nothing. And we're usually the headline act. 2 real bands will play, then the air band will get up and play, because that way people are drunk and they can appreciate that we're playing nothing. And it don't cost you a damn thing to play nothing.
I was going to say, do you have any roadies?
Air roadies, and I've got plenty of air girlfriends too. They don't get you in trouble. It's the best thing ever.
That's awesome, man. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Well, yeah. Well, I want to make a call. I've seen some Rush tribute bands. I watch a lot of Rush tribute bands, and you're right. Some can pull it off, others can't. When I see 6 guys on the stage that can pull it off, I mean, if they can pull it off and it sounds okay, but it's like, then you think, wow, it takes more humans to make the music of Rush in that way. And it's like, oh, the one band for me is the band that played that night and that are still continuing on is Lotus Land. They're top notch, man. I mean, they get it,
Chris Nelson is,
oh my God.
In the world.
Yeah, he is.
He's got the great bass tone.
Yep.
I'll tell you, when you talk about an interpretation of Rush, and I know that if you're a true Rush fan, it probably made you cry. And as a matter of fact, we know damn well that Carrie, Neil's wife, cried when she saw it, was the interpretation that the Army band did, Tim Whalen, of Time Stand Still. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that. That was incredible. Yeah.
He's going to be one of our guests at Night for Neil.
Yep.
And, I mean, Carrie, bawled her eyes when she heard it, and we got that right from the family.
Yep.
And I tell you, and I've watched it 10 times, and each time I've had tears in my eyes.
Yes,
That's a interpretation, one that Neil would have been proud of.
Yep.
We feel the emotion. As a matter of fact, as I'm just saying and talking about that song, I have goosebumps, the hair standing up my arms.
Yes.
That's a great interpretation right there.
Those are really good songs that can hold up in very different types of interpretations. And we had Jacob Moon last week, and so he's doing his acoustic covers of these Rush. Like, I had never considered that you could do them that way. What you're talking about, that's this other, complete other approach. And that to me is just a testament to how good the songs are, that you can take them in this other genre entirely and it still comes through. It doesn't lose anything. Some bands that I've seen trying to execute the music perfectly manage to miss all of it. But Jacob especially, but people who try to take it somewhere else, I have a lot of respect for that. That takes big balls to be like, oh, this Rush song, I can do something else with it. It's
yeah. And that's
well, let's get into the Night for Neil details, and I have a very special guest coming into the room right now.
Yeah, it's our returning champion, Donna Halper.
Yay!
Welcome back.
Hi, Donna.
What do I win?
You choose anything behind me here.
So all these guys owe me money, so we'll just start with that.
Oh, the show's over. Hi, Donna. How are you?
You know what? Cancer survivor for 6.5 years now. Happy to be walking around. Much to the disappointment of my enemies.
Do you intend to crush your enemies?
Well, you know what? They say living well is the best revenge.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Every day I wake up, I'm like, wow, I'm still here. My enemies will be so disappointed.
Well, Donna, thanks for coming. This show's dedicated to Foghat.
Now, I heard AC/DC. Am I on the wrong show?
No. Lance is starting an organization inspired by the songs of Foghat. So we wanted to.
As well, he should.
No, we were just
take it easy. I mean, who has not thought that?
Well, we this show is before our guest came on was dedicated to the legacy of Neil Peart, and Dan and I were speaking about his impact on fans and just popular culture, his writings, his music, his the way he carried himself throughout his life. And what's amazing to me, as I mentioned to Mike and Lance, is that here it is, two guys that never met each other before, come together because of the mutual love for a band that then inspire them to make or create an organization that's going to help people. And then now we're talking about the Night for Neil event and what that all means and what it will entail. And we wanted to kind of talk more about the details of the Night for Neil. And I don't know which one of you want to kind of get into it, but can you tell us how that came together, what people can anticipate? I know you had to reschedule because of COVID. You can, anything that people need to know about this event, you know, this is going to go out on the podcast. So it's a good source of information for folks. And again, remember, tomorrow is Neil's birthday. So we want to wish Neil Peart a very happy birthday. So anyway.
And also make sure to hold his family in our hearts.
Yes,
Because,
very much so.
You know, I mean, these are just nice people. And the worst thing you can have happen is to lose a family member too young. I mean, there's never a good time, let's be honest. But when it's someone who is young, that's particularly difficult. I mean, as we're recording this, it's 9/11. And that in itself is a very, very noteworthy day for a lot of Americans who lost people when those events happened in 2001. So it's kind of a nostalgic time for lots of people, but it's also a good time to remember and to do something good, to turn something bad into something positive. So we're thinking in that way.
Awesome.
Tell them, Mike. Tell them what we've gotten planned and how we started doing.
Okay. So obviously in January, aside from a small group of people, you know, the news just shocked us all. And I just walked around in a haze for maybe a week or two, and then got a call that, you know, we needed to have a board meeting, and basically somebody in Neil's inner circle found out about what was going on late last year, and with the family's blessing started to put some feelers out to put a fan tribute event together. And they asked Overtime Angels if we would be involved in, you know, producing the event, pulling the charities together. There's basically guidance from the Peart family as to the charities, 3 cancer charities in Canada, as well as Overtime Angels are the beneficiaries. And we've basically taken guidance from the family because we don't want to upset anybody. You know, as Donna mentioned, the situation is upsetting enough. And then to add the fame and all the people and the different directions and requests, and it's mind-boggling. And all I think about is the few times I've had some interaction with the family, they've been nothing but gracious and friendly, and how can we help? So what this has been able us to do is it's a smile on the edge of sadness. We've been able to put the grief aside for a little bit and focus our energies on what we can control, which is we all want to get together and pay tribute to our hero, and we all want to celebrate. And when the family sees how he's impacted so many people, and I think that's a gift that we can give them, show them, you know, the love that is in all of our hearts that Neil helped put there.
And you're using a very important word. It's a celebration, okay?
Yeah.
It's a way to commemorate someone who articulated stuff that all of us have felt, but he put it into words that you sit there and you go, yeah, that, okay? I know all of you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
oh,
you
yeah.
listen to a song and you're like, yeah, that, that exactly, okay? And to have that gift is very special. And it's one of the things that I've said over the years, even when he was alive. It's when you're a musician, a lot of times your work is forgettable, okay? Several of us have been in radio in our lives. The others have been involved in the music industry or have been fans or whatever. And you hear something on the radio and like 2 days later it's replaced by something else. And it's like, every year somebody does like, oh yeah, lost hits. And you're like, yeah, some of these should have stayed lost.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the music of Rush, it's almost like nearly every song speaks to someone. Nearly every album. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I have favorite albums just like everybody else. I don't get into it because these are my friends and whatever they put out there, I'm fine with it. But there are certain songs that resonated with me over the years, and I'm sure there are certain songs that resonated with you. And that's my point. In that regard, Neil lives on in the music that he gave us, in the words that he wrote, and in the way he articulated some of our emotions, some of our sentiments, some of our reactions. That lives on forever because, honest, as a DJ, I know for a fact I can't tell you half the songs I played 20 years ago, but I remember the Rush songs I played. Not just because they were my friends, but like they were in many cases so beautifully crafted, so beautifully written. And as I said, that's a gift. And to honor that and to commemorate that and to celebrate that is what we're about.
So where and when?
So we're blessed to have Donna involved.
Yes.
And Donna, you missed the conversation earlier because I wouldn't have had the pleasure of meeting you if it wasn't for John and his little coffee shop thing that myself and Kelly and Keith Seidel and Petey came up and saw you and we met you. And you were gracious enough to come to the first Rat Con, and you've come to almost every one ever since.
But see, that's entirely the point. I was on Twitter yesterday, and I'm very public about my politics. I try to be courteous, but I'm center left, and that's the way it is. And, that's it. But on the other hand, what's interesting about the Rush family, and it is a family, is you get center righties, you get center lefties, you get center, you got people that couldn't care less about politics, you got Jews, Christians, atheists, Hindus, you've got people from every walk of life who in normal circumstances might be arguing with each other on social media. And yet Rush brings everyone together. And that happened to me as recently as yesterday. I said something courteously, as I always try to be, about a current event. I don't even remember what it was. And immediately somebody who had the opposite point of view came right at me. And I came back with, you know what, this is just not, let's not argue about this. And the person came back and said, no, I don't want to argue. We're both Rush fans. And that, okay, there you are. So I couldn't tell you what the politics of most Rush fans are unless they let me know. But one of the things that is special about this band is how they have united people from all over the world and from every possible ideology. And even if in real life you might be arguing politics, when you're a member of the Rush family, you got a home. Because the thing with Rush has always been think for yourself, make your own decisions. His mind is not for rent to any god or government, whether you're a righty or a lefty, as long as you're not marching in lockstep and not thinking for yourself. As far as I'm concerned, being a part of the Rush community has been one of the most wonderful and life-changing experiences that I've ever had, okay? And I have met, and I see people nodding because they understand what I'm saying. I've met so many wonderful people because of my friendship with the band, my friendship with their record company, my friendship with everybody from the road crew all the way to, I have met so many wonderful people that I am still in touch with. How lucky am I, okay? So in that sense, to be able to plan a night for Neil, as far as I'm concerned, every night is a night for Neil. And it's an honor and a privilege to know Lance, to know Mike, to know Dan, to know John. These are people who I might have met, but then again, I might not have. And yet here we are with a common purpose. So I'll shut up and leave it to you guys.
Let's give folks some details on nicely put, Donna, by the way.
Yeah.
And,
We wish we had details, but see, I want to just say one thing very quickly.
Yes.
Mom didn't raise us to be liars, okay? There's way too much publicity out there masquerading as facts, okay? We don't want to do that. So if it seems like we've been slow, and I'm not trying to speak for the other guys, these are conversations we've already had.
Yes.
If it seems like we're being slow and, oh yeah, this one's going to be there and that one's going to, we don't know. Because of the fact that COVID has upset the national concert scene.
Right.
So many artists have had to cancel their gigs, have had to cancel their tours, I'm not telling you something you don't know. My point is, people have had to reschedule everything.
Yep.
And we genuinely are still trying to reach out and find out who might be available, who might not. And rather than get people's hopes up, and rather than get people all excited about who might, all I'm saying is be patient with us. And as we have facts, we'll be delighted to put them out there.
Okay.
Am I right, gentlemen?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I learned the hard way in adulthood is unless you know for a fact that something is happening and like something has been signed to that effect, don't tell anybody until you know for sure this thing is going to happen, because you just don't want that thing where, you know, you even just allude to it vaguely and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can't wait. To them, it's happening. As soon as you've said it, it's happening.
Well, look what we had to do in May. I mean, we thought that by October, and again, this isn't political. People all over the world are going through this. Whoever your president, whoever your prime minister, everyone is going through the uncertainty. Nobody likes uncertainty.
No.
I would love to be able to sit here and say, oh yeah, we'll have, you know, Joe Gazaxtehagen and Barry and the Bivics, and, you know, here's 7 other groups. Well, let's just say, there's a lot of people that are interested. Will they be able to be there? We'll let you know. Honest to God, we will.
So where can folks find out or keep abreast of the information or get updates on the info as it comes out?
There's Facebook pages. There's a Night for Neil, of course, Rush Camp, and also Overtime Angels Facebook pages, all 3 of those.
Okay.
And then if you go to overtimeangels.org, you know, that directs you to, you know, the tickets. It directs you to, you know, what, you know, talks about what we do, but it also has links to all of the performers that we've locked in at this point in time. And what, you know, Donna said is true. You know, some of the other performers, they don't know what their schedule is going to be as of next year. And, you know, some of these folks are, you know, starved for revenue, you know, to get back out there and play. So a lot of people are uncertain about what's going on. But the big thing is that we have not heard, you know, we sold 80% of the tickets at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines without anyone knowing who was on the bill.
Wow.
And having conversations, and I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of conversations from people that have left me messages that said, I want to be involved in some way. You know, you have people that say, I want to make bands, I want to do this, I want to have something at our bar, you know. But some of the stories that I've heard where Neil has impacted their lives and what they've gone through in their lives and how Neil's lyricism pulled them out of the deep, dark hole is amazing to me. And I could cry just thinking, and I would keep some of these people's names completely secret. But what people have shared with me as a result of, you know, doing this A Night for Neil, being blessed to be able to do this, is unbelievable. I thought I had heard it all, but it's amazing what, you know, Rush and Neil have done for these people to pull them out of a space where they wondering why. So
there's also people that have been touched by Neil's charity. And I'm not talking about your charity, I'm talking about like his personal, he reached out to them. I know that's not the image a lot of people have of Neil, because Neil was a very private person. But I can tell you straight up from firsthand experience, I saw him reach out to fans in need, okay? And I know for a true fact he did it. And I also know for a true fact that no one will ever know, because he didn't want people to know. He didn't want to embarrass people. He didn't, there was a fan, and I think several of you know who I'm talking about. There was a fan who lost everything in a fire a couple of years back, and she was homeless. And I went to Craig, Neil's best friend, and said, is there any way I can tell Neil about this? Because they don't live that far from each other. I mean, they're like one state over from each other. And maybe, just maybe, he might be able to send an autographed picture or something, just something to cheer her up. He not only sent an autographed picture, he made a money donation that was quite sizable.
Wow.
And she was shocked. She didn't ask for a thing. She was asking for an autographed picture. I mean, just something to cheer her up. And I mean, I had verified that she wasn't just trying to get a picture. I mean, she literally was living in her car. And, it was just a nightmare. And I told her that she wasn't alone, because when you're a member of the family of Rush fans, you're never alone. And the fact that Neil was willing to do that was just kind of, and to me, that's very typical. He was private. He didn't want a front page on, Billboard magazine. Neil gives to charity. No, that just wasn't Neil. Okay.
Hey,
he didn't want a building named after him. Okay. All he wanted was to be the best drummer, the best husband, the best father, the best family member. And he did those things. And that's one of the things I honor about him. The man was not a hypocrite. He lived his values. And boy, howdy, is it hard to find people in the world today that live their values.
That's true.
Truthfully, we can also say the same about Geddy and Alex. This band, not hypocrites, decent human beings, people who live their values. Who wouldn't want to honor them? I'm so sorry that Neil is not with us physically so that we can say to him, we know what you did. We know how you changed people's lives. And we know it embarrasses you for us to praise you. But, we need to praise you. And we will praise you.
He didn't like when he was not doing music, when he was off, that's the way he wanted to be. There's a funny story I'll tell you about Taylor Hawkins. I was on the phone with Taylor about 4 months ago. And Taylor said to me, he said, I got to tell you a story, when he had a party over his house, and then Neil was there, and somebody came up to him and said, is that Neil Peart over there? And he said, yeah. He goes, don't go walking up to him and treat him like a rock star. But the guy did. And Neil turned around and said, right now, I'm not Neil Peart. I'm Olivia's father, and I'm in the pool with her right now.
Wow.
And Taylor told me that, and I was just like, I said, the guy's an idiot. You shouldn't have done that. It's funny, some of the pictures that people have sent me too, that they've caught Neil at some place or at an ice skating rink. This gentleman, this guy by the name of Ramsey, took a picture of Neil, and he was in a skating rink, and Neil gave him the stink eye, but he was sitting there he was just renting skates for his daughter. He didn't want to be bothered. He didn't say nothing. He kind of waved, and he
Absolutely. I'm going to have to boogie on because we're in the middle of the semester and I've got students waiting to talk to me. But I wanted to be here for a few minutes.
Thank you,
to
Donna.
say it's a privilege to talk Rush. I hope I didn't talk too much because I don't want to dominate the conversation. But I am so pleased that we have the opportunity to honor Neil, and I'm glad to be a part of it in any way I can. Gentlemen.
We love you. We love you.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Good job,
Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Love you too. Bye, Donna. So, guys, that was a real treat.
Yeah.
Going back to your youths, because anytime we have we consider you guys super fans, right? Because you've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty with Rush, right? You're enveloped by the band. You're drinking out of you have a Rush T-shirt, or you're drinking out of a Rush mug. I mean, listen, some people might consider us pathetic, but that's okay. We love our band so much, and they mean so much to us. A couple of middle-aged man babies hosting a podcast in our mother's basement. So when Lance, starting with you, when was the first time you got into Rush? What was your first kind of encounter with the band, and how did you get pulled in?
Oh, I was a big Kiss fan when I was 14. Huge Kiss fan. Posters all over. I think I had every Kiss poster ever made. And we used to dress up like Kiss. I would always be Paul Stanley. We'd do air guitar, and it was funny. Andy Nelson, he was Gene, and Bobby Johansson was actually Ace, and we would jump around and do whatever. And that was during that was right. I mean, when Alive hit, that was like big. Kiss was going crazy, and then it was Destroyer. Destroyer came. It was in 1976 too. And then this guy Ray Jordan handed me a Rush 2112. And we were in 9th grade, and he said, he goes, dude, you got to listen to this. He goes, this is unbelievable. You got to read the liner notes and all the lyrics and everything. And I was like, okay, dude. He knew how big of a Rush fan I was. There was big Led Zeppelin fans in school and all this other stuff. And, Kiss was okay, but, I was kind of a geek or whatever. And so I went home and I put 2112 on, and I'm reading through it and, reading the lyrics, and I'm like, what the hell? And I can't even remember who the girl I was dating or whatever, but I remember calling her on, it was because you didn't have a cell phone then. I called from my room phone or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, I just listened to one of those incredible albums I've ever heard in my entire life. The story, it's like the whole story. He finds a guitar and this, that, and the other. And oh my God, the guy he presents this thing to these people who don't like it. And she's like, what the hell's going on? But anyway, and then I started exploring. So it wasn't 3 weeks later. I ripped all the Kiss posters off my wall. I'm listening to elementary school lyrics compared to what these guys are putting out. Listening to Caress of Steel on the first album, and and all that other stuff. I remember Working Man and Fly By Night and all that stuff. But then it just hit me, and I was like, wow. So what it was. And I didn't miss a Rush tour since. I went with Ray Jordan's dad, the guy that handed me the album. We went to Allentown, and that wasn't the 2112 tour. It was the All the World's a Stage tour. And just was mesmerized.
You saw that tour?
Yeah, the All World Estate.
Wow, killer!
Nice. Wow. That was one of the first times I actually hit the salad bar. As a matter of
so you've seen every tour since then?
Never missed a tour since then. Never hit my 100th concert like this guy. I wanted to go. I missed Toronto R40, and I also missed Irving. And the LA, because I was so busy at work, it wasn't a responsible thing to do. So I never hit my 100th concert. I hit the Magic 99.
Wow. And so you saw the Moving Pictures tour?
Oh, God, yes.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I remember on the Permanent Waves tour when they played, and I think I might have been one of the only people that heard Red Barchetta in a different version, because they played Tom Sawyer, a different version of Tom Sawyer during the Permanent Waves tour, and at the Capitol Center, because we used to wait for tickets. Matter of fact, we'd eat hash. My God, we were eating hash and waiting for tickets, and we'd be first or second in line all the time. And
that's how you got tickets back then, folks. You stood in line.
Yes.
You stood in line.
And they were $10.
Yeah, oh, God bless. And it was but they played Red Barchetta. It was a piece of it. I can't remember the whole thing, and I have never heard of anybody that's ever heard that during the Permanent Waves tour. But it was a piece of it. It was just like, and I remember Getty saying something about a car and this, that, and the other. And of course by then, we were super, super fans by that time. The Hemispheres tour sealed the deal for me. Wow. That was crazy. You hit the salad bar and you went in and you listened to Hemispheres. during that time. It took you on a journey. Like you were
big time, yeah.
like an outer body experience.
Wow.
Oh, God. Again, I'm getting goosebumps just remembering that. But then everybody evolved. A lot of lost all my friends after the Signals album. They didn't like Rush anymore. And, I think when Metallica came out, with their albums and, 84, 85, 86. And what was Ride the Lightning? A lot of people were, in the metal. But, I was still going to the tours and enjoying it. And there was one tour I wasn't real fond of Presto, but then came to love it after, I know, Bunny. But these guys were the ones who were like, what's the matter with you? And now, I love Presto.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to Steven Taylor this morning, mixing engineer with for Presto and Roll the Bones. He's going to be on the show in October, and I was talking about Presto with him. That's a great. He's engineer on with Rupert Hine on Presto and Roll the Bones. Mike, thanks, man. I'm going to come back to you though, Lance. Mike, first time you got into Rush, what's the deal?
I heard Subdivisions in Sleepaway Camp in 1983, but I didn't know what it was. So when I went home that next month, I learned it was Rush, and I had the Columbia House 10 cassettes for a penny. So I got Grace Under Pressure, but it wasn't on there.
I scammed them so many times.
I scammed the hell out of those people.
That's why they're not in business anymore.
I don't know how they stayed in business. I put them out of business.
Went over to a buddy's house. He played Signals. I was like, that's it. And went backwards, went forwards. First show was one of the Show of Hands shows at the Meadowlands, March of '86. And I just saw people on the floor bouncing up and down. And I said, I got to be down there someday. And finally, in 2004, on R30, I had a client that moved from New Jersey to Tennessee. So I flew down there, did a client review in the morning, drove to Nashville, saw opening night, and then hit 2 shows on the way back to Jersey. And I was like, this is great. I could do my job during the day. I could see Rush at night. Why haven't I been doing this? And was able to see 32 shows on Snakes and Arrows, 32 shows on the Time Machine tour.
Wow.
We joked 30-something shows on Clockwork Angels when we met Ray Daniels in St. Paul. We told him that we were going for high percentage this time because he wasn't scheduling that many shows. So I'm thrilled that I did it when I did, because not only with Rush, but I haven't seen a concert in like 180 days. So
I know, man.
Losing my mind. No
one will never know what it was like to see a Rush concert. The energy and the arena vibe. I have buddies that love Rush that just never got around to it, and big fail on their behalf, man. They missed out big time. But Lance, I didn't know you saw them that way far back. There are roadies that aren't even with them as long that were part of those tours, man.
I'm almost 60 years old now. I mean, and you know what? It's like people are like, why you? It's like what keeps you so young? Music. I mean, music is one of the number one things that does keep you young. What are you listening to? Who are you hanging out with? Who are you going to concerts with? Now, I don't go to as many concerts as Mike does. Mike is, he's a concert guru. Dude likes, he'll go to multiple different concerts, and if you don't put music in his veins, it's like you killed the guy. And that's the whole thing. It's like, even when you're with Rush, you find yourself, geez, if I'm in the 10th row, I'm missing something. When matter of fact, Mike was the first one that took me to the show in Jersey. It was the first time I ever, that was during was that Snakes and Arrows, or was that Time Machine? One of the.
I believe it was Time Machine.
Then we saw it was my first front row, and I'd been in second or third or whatever, but first front row. But once you get hit with rocket sauce at point blank range, you don't want to go back. And there's something special about being right there with Big Al and Getty and those guys, staring right down at you, knowing that what you're feeling every single beat that they're throwing at you.
Yeah.
Because it's just like getting hit with the Nickelodeon slime. they're just going boom. They're trying to ban assault weapons. These guys are blasting us with this. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is nuts. This is, there's nothing like it. And I'm sure there are people that feel that way about the Foo Fighters or, different bands. But Rush, hits you in a completely different way. And you saw the same people all the time up there in those rows. It was like we were blessed to have, second and third row for the Time Machine tour, and for us to be on that video, playing, air drums and air guitar. And when Getty, and that was a crazy show. When Getty said, best audience ever, that was like we received the freaking virtual trophy of the year. Because we were better than Rush in Rio. I mean, I can't imagine. Because the Brazilians knew how to rock, man.
Oh man, yeah. So much so it kind of ruined the production on that album. The roar of the crowd is overwhelming. I think of the production.
You had a blimp flying, or that blimp that was flying around. And did you go to the Cleveland show?
I did not, unfortunately. No.
Oh wow.
No, I wish I did. There's a lot of shows I wish I had gone to see. I've seen Rush about 45 times. My first was Hold Your Fire tour, which was probably pooled in with the Show of Hands, right? Show of Hands is the Hold Your Fire tour. Show of Hands has. Yeah. That's the first time I got into Rush. So a couple questions we always ask super fans or any fan on the show that's into Rush is top 5 albums. Lance, what's your top 5, Lance?
Well, I mean, oh my God. Oh boy.
Oh, live albums are actually okay. You can choose live albums for this.
Well, if I was to pick out my top 5 albums, then starting from the bottom up, I would say Permanent Waves, Hemispheres, 2112, Vapor Trails, Clockwork Angels, #1.
Wow. Really?
Clockwork Angels, we made my freaking truck into an airship, Alchemy sandbags, a big motor hanging off the back, a mast with 2112 clock on it. We dressed up steampunk. We went all completely out, and the song Clockwork Angels bumped Natural Science out for my all-time favorite song.
Wow, that's scandalous.
Mike,
no, it's actually not that scandalous.
It comes up a lot that Clockwork Angels is the favorite album of a lot of people.
We've been asking this on a few shows now, and the first time someone said, "Yeah, Clockwork Angels is my favorite," I think it's a great album, but I was expecting, moving pictures or, like something, or 2112 or something like that. But every show, people would keep saying like, yeah, I think Clockwork Angels is the best one. So, that's a total testament to them that it was like right up to the end. Everything was quality,
Yeah, and when you ask someone that's a true Rush fan what your top 5 albums are, it's not about the technical nature of it's what those albums mean to you. Because my top 5 is going to look different than yours.
Everybody's.
Lance, yeah, big time. That's why we ask,
But I got to tell you, Mike's. When I listened to Clockwork Angels for the first time, Mike was the first person I called. And I was like, dude, I said, well, what did you think? And he paused for like 4 or 5 seconds. And he made the most profound statement. He said, it's like they've been on training wheels for 40 years.
Well, that's the incredible thing about Clockwork Angels. It's their final album.
Oh, they're right. And The Garden was their swan song.
I know. We had a show about The Garden, and I love the guitar solo on The Garden. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about that guitar solo and having that be the final song, and just reading the lyrics. It's like, wow, were they planning this all the way along? I mean, they have this planned out like years in advance. It's just too good.
Wow.
I know. It's incredible. I know. Mike, top 5, Mike.
I got Signals on there because that's what started it all.
Number five, Signals.
Oh, you want from the bottom up?
Yeah, we need it in order, please.
Okay, so from the bottom up, I guess I will put.
That's a tough.
I'll put Counterparts on number 5.
Oh, okay.
And then number 4, I'll put Hemispheres. 3, I will put Permanent Waves. 2, I will put Snakes and Arrows Live, because I thought that the second set was a show in itself.
Oh, God. Love that show.
And then number 1 would be Signals.
Do you think you'd choose Permanent Waves if Natural Science wasn't on it?
Well, you have Jacob's Ladder on
I know.
That's a great.
I sung that to my girlfriend as one of the first songs that I serenaded her with.
Wow.
She's a big Bon Jovi fan, but but I had to throw some Rush in there too. So
no, that's a great record.
I mean, as much as Spirit of Radio is such a great concert song, I love when they play Free Will live.
Yeah. It is great too.
Permanent Waves is great top to bottom. There's no song on it that's weak. There's some that I like more than others. All of side 1 is my God, that's fantastic. Natural Science is fantastic. Maybe Entre Nous is not the best song.
What's that play? They played on that. They played on the Snakes and Arrows, right? Was that Snakes and Arrows? Yeah. Nobody puts Grace Under Pressure on their list.
Oh, I love Grace.
Oh, it's a great record. Man. It's like one of my favorites.
Oh,
hold on. My top 6. That's the next one.
Yes, sir. There it is.
Ah, very nice.
Oh yeah, and my little.
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
Hey, Lance. Fool for the city.
For those of you listening at home, we're looking at an 8-track of the Rush debut.
Yes,
and it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's beautifully ugly. I've never seen one before. I collect funky looking 8-tracks that are funny, but
wow.
Anyway, I know. Well,
Hey, what do you got there?
Terry Brown.
Hey, cool. Ooh, signed.
Yep.
By Terry Brown. Nice.
Yes. It's actually in good condition. I play it on the weekends.
Oh, you play it?
Yeah, I pop it out of the frame and put it in.
Forward just as long as he can, right? I got you.
I had a whole box of like mint 8-tracks, and then I had this old school 8-track player, and I'm like, I'm gonna get really like 70s and put this in my living room, and I put the thing in, and the tape comes flying. Like, no wonder why this sucks. 8-tracks suck. They look cool, but they suck. Anyway, guys, I just want to thank you so much for joining us on Two Guys Talking Rush. But anything we can do to help support what you're doing, you just let me know, and we'll make a mention of it in the beginning of the show or whatever you need. Boy, I just wish you guys the best luck with the events, and I know that COVID is a real obstacle, but things will get back to normal, I'm sure. And people just want to get back into concert settings and be with each other and enjoy music together, and it'll happen.
We're hoping that that this is going to be going. If not, then we're going to postpone it again, and we want the live crowd. We've got to add people there so that they can experience and feel what we're trying to do, and they need to they're there to freaking celebrate Neil. This could be a big thing. I mean, it could overflow. We could have a screen outside of the Meridian Center for overflow. We're hoping.
Yeah. At this point, it's a flexible plan. We figure come the turn of the year, January, February, we'll have an idea if big shows are going to happen, what the status is with the border. And again, we want to do this in person because most of the people have held on to their tickets. There have been a lot of refunds for other concerts. Yeah. Whenever I'm in touch with the venue, they said as many people that have asked for refunds, there's more people buying tickets.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the show. It's just a matter of when. I'll just add the website is www.an4n.org. AN4N, a night for Neil. And it's April 17th, Saturday night at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, Ontario.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for
thanks
thanks for coming on.
It's great to see you again, John. Dan, nice to meet you.
It was good meeting you.
But hopefully we can all meet in the future, and I'll give you guys a ride in the airship. Dude, thank you, man.
Thank you. Rush on.
Drop by anytime. Rush on.
Back at you, dude.
Oh, a couple of really nice guys there.
Yeah. And a surprise.
And a special guest surprise. Yeah. Yes, the magnificent Donna Halper. Who,
had you planned that in advance, or just?
I kind of just put the feelers out there. She's in charge of media for the event, and I said, hey, if you want to just jump in and say a few words, and Lance and Mike would join us, and she said, yeah, I'll try, and she did.
She makes the effort, man. I gotta say, she shows up. She always gets up and makes the donuts. I gotta say,
she really does, man. Yeah. She really does. Yeah. So a night for Neil, and the details are in the podcast there. And if anything, you can go to overtimeangels.org to find out more about A Night for Neil and the organization, which supports many causes. And another great show. Another one in the bag. Yeah. Well,
yeah, and I mean, thank you to everyone who listens. We're trying to keep it interesting and, change it up. I hope you guys are enjoying it. We certainly are. And for all of you out there who do listen to us, thank you very much. We're very grateful. And we hope to continue giving you good entertainment and things to think about on future shows.
Yes, definitely. Well, my name is John Kane.
I am the delightful Dan Buckspan.
And this is Two Guys Talking Rush. What can I say, folks? Rush rules.
Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys.
Live music inspires millions around the world, but the concerts we all enjoy wouldn't be possible without the countless crew members working behind the scenes. As COVID-19 puts concerts on pause, we want to extend a helping hand to the touring and venue crews who depend on shows to make a living. Crew Nation was created to do just that. Crew members are the backbone of the live music industry, and we hope you'll join us in supporting them through this temporary intermission until we can once again unite millions around the world through the power of live music. Crew Nation is powered by Music Forward Foundation, a charitable 501c3 organization that will be administering the fund. Live Nation has committed $10 million to Crew Nation, contributing an initial $5 million to the fund, then matching the next $5 million given by artists, fans, and employees dollar for dollar. Please support Crew Nation at www.livenationentertainment.com/Crew Nation.